Do you ever remember that feeling of being a kid, coming back home from school, opening up your sketchbook and shutting the door on the world outside as you sat down to draw everything you could remember from your daydreaming during classes? And if you were a 2000s kid or a Frutiger Aero kid, you might have been using a CD. My personal favorite was Gorillaz, Demon Days. Even today, I still find myself following that same ritual as a kid, where I just doodle at my desk at work, dreaming of all the stories and ideas that I have. But I will admit that I have kind of lost the passion that I did as a kid, and that could just be the fact that when I go to work, it's dark, and when I come back home from work, it's dark. So it's not really that much about life there. So I decided to go back in time and visit the good old Cringe Valley to see if I could get some motivation from my kid self. And I followed the same ritual that I did as a kid. I turned on my favorite music and I scrolled through all of my old sketchbooks from the earliest that I could find. And I hope that this can help inspire you and give you some kind of motivation to get back into art if you're stuck, or if you just want to see some cringe art. Chapter 1. Middle School, the Childhood Wonder Phase. Starting off strong with the Lego lady. Anyway, I think these were... they were cheat codes for a Spyro game, I'm pretty sure. I was very obsessed with Spyro. I was part of the Dawn of the Dragon fandom. I know a lot of people hated that era. And this was a to-do list from when I was like 14. This was the era where I couldn't really draw humans, where I kind of stuck to drawing my comfort characters and my comfort shapes, which were Pokemon, furry, wolf, cat infused characters from the early 2000s. Does anyone relate to that? It would be really interesting to know the different styles from different generations. For example, for me, growing up in the early 2000s and mid-2000s, what I drew was very much influenced by the internet, like DeviantArt. This was the time of the XD ruffle, mustache, monocle emoji, the Nyan cat as well. Oh my god. I did this thing where it's like anytime I had an evil version of a character, I would make their eyes just black and bleed. Oh yeah! This was, these were characters that I actually was putting out for adoption. Oh no, I was selling them. And I remember I sold one of them. Sakura, this wolf here. And, yeah, that's all I remember. To anybody who knows Geronimo Stilton and loves Geronimo Stilton, you are based. I love Geronimo Stilton, and I grew up with it because he's quite a huge character in Italy, because he derived from Italy. I think that was a bottle. That doesn't look appropriate, but it's a bottle. Ah yes, so this is encompassing of the whole 2000s era if you were 12 years old. You got the Trollolol, the Megusta face, I think, or like the angry Megusta face. Dr. Pepper, wow. Oh, this is Gorillaz. This is where I started to try to draw a little bit out of my comfort zone. I mean, it's obvious that I was hardcore copying. Nightmare Before Christmas, Jack Skellington. Empire of the Sun was my favorite band at the time. Batman. This is a character that brings me quite a bit of sadness, to be honest, because whenever my dad was stressed, I would draw activity books with this character. I called it the Oscar series for Dad. He told me about how that was the one thing that he looked forward to every week. It's what made him feel happy, and it's what made him feel motivated at the end of it. But one day I looked at them and I said, nope, you're going, because I was so fixated on trying to distance myself from my younger self. I just had so much self-hatred, but ironically it just made me hate myself even more. So an interesting point about this drawing is that you can kind of see I'm learning more of how to shade, whereas everything else was like just outlines and no real coloring. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I used to love that series when I was a kid. But you know what I mean? I still kept the happy campiness, but I started to delve into the darkness, which then brought me into high school phase. Coming of age, where I was an absolute edgelord. I loved Evanescence, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love goth and I love Evanescence, and I also love being an edgelord. It was just the prime edgelord phase. Did you also go through that phase where primary school, middle school, you were kind of happy-go-lucky artist kid, and then you just went into the complete opposite where you were just like depressed? This was the time when I was using art as more of a form of expression, and I got more into Gothic art. I took more inspiration from the art that I grew up with in Italy, so a lot more Renaissance, a lot more gospel kind of art, because I was really trying to be completely different to what I used to be as a kid and get a new style. Also, this is when I was preparing myself to go into college, so I was really trying to experiment with mediums, different mediums. I was trying to expand from furry to then humans to then even backgrounds. Like, I was really trying to get my style to be somewhat professional. I needed a lot of improvement, and even today I still need to improve. I can see a lot of stuff in my art that needs to change, like a lot of quirks, I guess, that I still have today and that I need to improve on. Smug face. Some of this I will probably have to crop because there is blood. I could just say that it's ketchup, but I'm not sure that would pass. I believe it is so important that you keep every sketchbook and every drawing that you have, even if you don't like that drawing, because who knows, maybe you'll look back at it and it will give you inspiration to draw something today. Middle school is the furthest of my art that I have. I've deleted everything, I've scrapped everything from primary school, and it's really sad because a lot of those were memories. If you're anything like me, art will have more of a meaning to it than just the art that it is. Even just looking through this book, I can remember exactly what I was thinking and what I was going through emotionally, and it's who you are, it's who you were. You're always growing. So always keep your art, no matter what, if you like it or not. I know my art isn't the best, I know it's not like super amazing professional, like all of these other artists that I see every day, but let me know what was your favorite part of this sketchbook tour. For me, it was probably high school, because I love goth art and it's still a style that I try to do today. Hopefully this has inspired you to do your own sketchbook tour, to look through your old books and to get inspired from your younger self, and to see the improvements that you've made. Thank you for being here.